I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending Friday, August 28th, where the only thing worse than the way the market ended up last week was the way that it started out this past week with those sharp losses on the stock market. And your cattle market, or the futures anyway, do tend to travel with the stock market, but it shouldn't be in direct proportion, but was almost that way this time. Just really sharp losses there. We opened up on Monday. Within just a few minutes on Monday, you remember, the stock market was down over 1,000 points, which is getting into record kind of territory. It did come back a little bit, but still down hard. Down hard all early in the week there, but we started to see some recovery on the stock market there middle of the week, and then finished out the week fairly good. But your CME cattle futures ended the week gaining a big part of that loss that they had early in the week back. Started out on Monday with out front months on feeder cattle down the limit, down hard again there with a few early sessions of the week. But come back pretty strong there on Thursday and Friday, with September up over $2 on Friday, ending the week at 202.40. August is now off the board, of course. We still have Monday to go on live cattle. August goes off on Monday. It was up 187 to get up to 146.52, which would be just a pinch better than what this week's fat cattle is probably going to average. October was up 142 and is right around 144 there. We had some trade through the week on fed cattle, a lot lower in Iowa. They really took it to the farmer feeders there, and they traded some cattle a whole lot lower and around 143 on a live basis. But here on Friday, Nebraska is trading some live cattle from 144 to 145, which is really only $1 to $2 lower, and 228 dressed, which is $3 to $4 lower, but a few dollars better than what they traded in Iowa earlier in the week when everybody was so scared. The Southern Plains has some cattle to sell, has not traded as I'm recording this late Friday, but they wanted 145 or better than that on their cattle, because they're really short of cattle for the next few weeks here on that are market ready. But your dressed steer weights keep moving up, and this week the results come out. The actual results for the week ending August the 15th had your dressed steers all the way up to 900 pounds. They don't get a whole lot heavier than that, and hadn't been that many years ago that 900 pounds was a heavy carcass, but that's what they averaged the week ending August 15th, and they're running heavier than they did a year ago, and probably going to get to record territory here in the next 3 to 4 actual week reports. But your cash feeder cattle have been staving off a lot of this pressure from the lower board and all this negativity, but this week they really just tanked. Tanked pretty hard last week, but this week your yearling feeder cattle fully $5 to $10 lower. Calves 10 to 20 lower. There was instances all across the country that were stiffer than those, but I would say in general your yearling feeder cattle, especially steers, are probably $7 lower than they were a week ago, and they were probably nearly that much last week. We've just lost a lot of ground in our value here the last few weeks, and all has to do with this global economy. China's stuff has really been tough. You know, they devalued their currency there a several weeks back, a few months back there, and then that's just kind of been building up for a big collapse of their economy and their stock market, which it's hard to really get a picture of what their stock market is whenever they're not a democracy or a open market capitalism. I mean, it's not like, you know, a lot of them are trying to get money put together to start their own business or anything, but you know, they loan so much money to all these other countries, including us, around the world, and it's just they really do have the pulse of everything that's going on. And with all this negativity swirling and all these publicly traded markets, especially your commodity markets, the banks now have really lost their confidence in the cattle. And if you haven't done it yet, talk to these other people that's went in to renew their loans for cattle. And these banks are really tightening up on things. They're going to want your investment, the risk on it, to be protected a whole lot more than normal. They may want a bigger margin, just a lot of things. And we really haven't, cattle feeders in general haven't been buying feeder cattle that would pencil out or that would hedge for a long time, for really the last 2 or 3 years. They've just been off of that. But luckily, the basis has been so positive whenever they sold, because the board can't keep up with cash or hasn't been running with it, that they were able to come out of on those with their hedges. But these banks have lost a lot of their confidence, and it's funny that they're losing confidence whenever banks depend on confidence to keep themselves going. But like my granddad always used to say, the banks will always be there for you until you need them. And that kind of goes along with everything that happens in business as far as agriculture, because you gotta borrow money to operate. Some sales this week. Northern Livestock Video had a big video auction this week. You can sure see that these calves for fall delivery are going to be a lot lower. It hadn't been just a few weeks ago. Those video sales for October delivery, either side of October for the fall delivery, we're pushing $3 or at $3. This week, your fall delivery steer calves right off the cow there be really high quality, but up in that country in the northern plains and out west too, selling from $240 to $260. $260 is really on the top end of that. A lot of high quality light 5-weight steers from like $248 to into the low $250s there, and that's kind of what the market is. So you can see how much they've lost here in the last few weeks, $30, $40, $50 maybe. One particular ranch there, the Harmon Ranch, Red Angus is popular, guys, especially on replacements anymore, and they sold 120 head of replacement quality Red Angus heifers, home raised there, weighing 510 pounds for $315. That's for October delivery in northwestern Montana there. And this Red Angus deal is really hot. And we expect these replacement cattle, not so much the heifers. You see these bred heifers are really starting to tail off already, but guys are still buying replacement quality heifers to do their own thing with. But these replacement heifers, they're not wanting to calve them out. They're not wanting to calve out something somebody else had bred. But bred cows are still selling up there good. Bred cows, even your middle and older cows, all your running ages of bred cows are still selling good. They were the last thing to get high. They'll be the last thing to drop off. And but then these replacement quality open heifers or lighter calves are selling well. But the bred heifers, you can pretty much pick those things up for $2,200 to $2,500, and really the right kind too. But some other yearling sales this week, or calf sales I should say, in Creston, Iowa. They had their barbecue special this week, and Tom Fry and his family really have a nice sale going there, and they've got a lot of support locally around there in south central Iowa. And at Creston, at the barbecue special, they sold 91 head of fancy steer calves, weighed 509 at $293. And that's a really, really good price for this day and time on a steer weighing over 5 to get that close to $3, because they just won't bring it anymore, but they did there on Wednesday. Some yearling sales at Salina, Kansas at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock there on Thursday, just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They had the top sale of the yearlings was a load of steers weighing 853 at $207.35. It hadn't been that long ago that I've been talking about those cattle bringing in the 220s. They just won't do it. That is really a good price in the Southern Plains on an 850-pound steer at $207.35. But check out DV Auction this week, and coming up on Tuesday, Southeast Livestock Exchange is going to be on DV Auction. They got 15 to 20 loads of yearling cattle there selling out of the Southeast, and that's on Tuesday there on DV Auction. You can also see this report on the StockExchangeNews.com. So from a home office here in Maysville, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.